Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's Jesse with the Common Nerd. I'm bringing you pop culture and all things underneath the way common sense lens. And there's no doubt that activism in gaming has cost the industry tens of billions of dollars, if not arguably in some cases hundreds of billions of dollars, at least in losses for potential profit, revenue, all of that kind of nonsense out there. And it's one of those situations where people always ask, who's funding these games? Who's putting the money behind these kind of situations, right? What idiot would possibly try to promote something that is nothing more than an illegal immigration simulator? Well, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, it turns out that it was you, boys and girls, especially if you live in the United States of America, because funding for the game Take Us North, an illegal immigration simulator out there, came from the United Nations, boys and girls. And yes, if you're an American taxpayer, you'll know very well that you fund and foot a lot of money going to the United Nations. And I'd imagine if you live in any country around the world that has a seat at the table, at some point you probably pay a little bit of that. So boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it so much fun to hear about the fact that your tax dollars have gone to promote a bunch of the crazy agenda-driven garbage out there? And guess what? The best part about it is, once you expose them, once you shine the light of the truth on them, just like the cockroaches they are, they run and hide. Because as you can see over here from the headline at thatparkplace.com, Take Us North, illegal immigration game, Dev Anamia Interactive scrubs internet presence after explosive backlash. And boys and girls, we're just going to lay this out up front. Shout out to Master of the Total Defense Shogun and his lovely wife Rewriting Raven out there on their channel, YouTube channel Gothic Therapy, because they did the research, they did the work, and they do an incredible job of their finding out about all this. We would have had no idea about the UN connections, boys and girls, if it wasn't for them. And it's not just funding that the UN did for all of this. No, they promoted it. And as soon as the light of day, as soon as Gothic Therapy shone the truth and the light down upon them, they have ran and hid. So shout out to them, and make sure you go subscribe to their channel and follow them all over their social medias. So we're going to check out this article from thatparkplace.com, getting all the juicy details of exactly what Gothic Therapy has exposed and the evil ties, and of course the evidence showing these people running and hiding. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 2,100. We're sailing our way towards 100,000. I think we're sitting at like 2,172, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Does it surprise you at all that the cockroaches behind this game, as soon as they are completely and totally exposed and all of the connections and obviously all of the government tie-ons with the funding for this game, they will decide to run and hide? Or do you think this is something that just is completely and totally unrelated and they just took all of this stuff down and erased themselves from Twitter because of something else? Does it surprise you at all that your hard-earned tax dollars are going to fund a game literally promoting criminal activity? Or does none of this surprise you at all and you're like, hey, color us shocked there? I'm just glad to finally find out that the facts and the truth are exposed to the rest of the world. So guess what? We're not conspiracy theorists after all. Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. And also, if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. And honestly, boys and girls, I really want this game to release. I checked Steam. It's not even available for pre-order or anything like that. It's not even listed over there yet. But I really want this game to come out because it would be hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Because I'd imagine it's going to be a broken and buggy mess, just like most of these activist games are. So from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet Marvin Montanero. Anime Interactive, the studio behind Take Us North, one of the most controversial games of the year, has erased itself from the internet just days after growing scrutiny connected it to Microsoft. That's right, color us shocked there. The company founded by Bill Gates is pushing more of the UN globalist agenda nonsense. Wings Interactive, and of course, our favorite, Sweet Baby Inc., boys and girls, and even the United Nations. At the center of the firestorm is Take Us North, a narrative survival game developed by Anime Interactive. The project was pitched as a socially conscious experience. An empathy-driven title where players take on the role of a Gaia or a guide, escorting groups of migrants as they cross deserts, fences, and border patrols on their way into the United States. So yes, boys and girls, Unlike GTA, where you understand that you're a criminal and you're doing illegal things because the police trap you all the time for violating the laws. No, in this case, boys and girls, this game is supposed to make you feel empathy for all of the criminal, illegal people violating U.S. and honestly other countries' laws by coming into the country. And not only are you do that, but you're going to help them. If anybody has ever listened to a single honest story about the horrors, the absolute horrors that men, women, and children are exposed to by these coyotes who prey upon these people and their hopes and dreams just to make money and abandon them out there in the desert, yes, boys and girls, you understand why this is such an issue. Don't believe me? Look it up for yourself. On paper, the developers describe it as a way to shed light on migrant struggles. Well, maybe if you didn't decide to commit a crime before you left your house, you wouldn't be dealing with all those struggles. You'd be dealing with all the struggles you figured out a way to cope with in your own country. I don't know. Here's a strange concept. Fix your own shithole. Drawing from interviews and anthropological research, mainstream outlets like Wired eagerly promoted it as empathy machine. Microsoft lent legitimacy through its ID Xbox Developer Acceleration Program. That's right, boys and girls. Microsoft helped fast-track this game. And guess what? It wasn't just that. They've got a Kickstarter too. But methinks for some reason $30,000 really isn't all that much to promote and create a game. Boy, I wonder why they needed government backing out there. Yeah, right there. Provided early funding and exposure. Yes, Microsoft Xbox is developing and promoting this game out there. But critics saw something different. Hi. To them, Take Us North was less about storytelling and more about glorifying criminal coyotes and normalizing illegal border crossings. And trust me, that was definitely the point. After all, video games are meant for children, right? That's what the mainstream corporate organizations, the legacy media try to tell us all the time, right? Right? Boy, I wonder who they were targeting with this game. After all, in practice, the player isn't just telling the stories. They're actively role-playing the process of smuggling migrants into the United States. The controversy might have stayed within gaming circles, if not for the independent watchdog channel Gothic Therapy, hosted by Master of the Total Defense Shogun and Writing Raven. Their investigation argued that Take Us North wasn't a grassroots indie project at all, but rather the product of a carefully constructed pipeline of an institutional support. But of course, the Kickstarter means it's obviously grassroots, boys and girls. Obviously. Except for all the institutional support that Gothic Therapy exposed. So there's that. Here's what they uncovered. Wings Interactive, the shadowy funding group, once again emerged in the picture. Wings co-founder Audrey Prince publicly promoted Take Us North, endorsing it and helping pipeline it into the indie festival circuit. While Wings may not have directly bankrolled the title, its blessing carried institutional weight. It's weird how you see the same groups and the same organizations pushing the same agenda over and over and over again in video games. It's almost like they have an agenda. Sweet Baby Inc. Gotta love our SBI. Gothic Therapy reminded viewers of the connection between Wings and Sweet Baby Inc., specifically through Kim Ballar, a co-founder of SBI who served on Wings' board. While there's no evidence that Sweet Baby Inc. directly worked on Take Us North, their influence with Wings ties them indirectly to the project. I mean, it's literally always the same groups of people with the exact same ideology. It's almost like there's a mass agenda at work here to completely and totally devastate the video game industry with their agenda, just like they've done to movies, television shows, comics, tabletop RPGs, role-playing games, and pretty much everything else they've got a hold of, including board games, boys and girls. Look at how woke the board game industry is. It's kind of insane, truth be told. Clever Endeavor Games, another studio, Clever Endeavor reportedly invested in Take Us North, while also financing Wings' 2025 Elevate program, which funnels money towards activist-driven projects. Boy, I wonder if any of their Kickstarter funding came from that. Microsoft, through ID Xbox, Xbox, i.e., Microsoft gave Animana Interactive corporate legitimacy, boys and girls. Yes. Well, Microsoft backs them. They must be awesome, right? Xbox is so trusted out there in the world, right? Don't you love your Xbox? Don't you love all your Xbox games? Pushing Take Us North into the mainstream. Perhaps the most shocking revelation. Gothic Therapy reported that Take Us North was showcased at the United Nations under the code name The American Dream. Now, why would you need a code name if your game wasn't anything nefarious in any way, shape, or form? If you didn't think certain segments of the global population might have an issue with this game, why did you have to use a code name? Well, to go ahead and state the obvious, it's because it was nothing more than a nefarious, agenda-driven push of a game. Just 9 months ago. Yes, boys and girls, this wasn't years ago. This isn't something that's been in development for a decade. No, literally just 9 months ago, this was showcased at the United Nations. So yeah, how's your American tax dollars feel now, boys and girls? A game simulating illegal border crossings had not only corporate but also global institutional support. The deep state is real. The web of connections painted Take Us North as far more than an indie experiment. It was a case study in how Wings, Sweet Baby, and their allies funnel activist projects into the spotlight, and how corporations and even international institutions help protect them. What is it they always say? The people you can't criticize are the ones with all the power. For all the institutional backing, the public wasn't buying it. On the Game Trailer's YouTube channel, Take Us North languished at only 3,800 views with an embarrassing 433 dislikes to just 69 likes as of August 26th. Well, obviously, that's changed a little bit. Game's Trailer, with their 1.19 million subscribers, boys and girls, even after the controversy, could only garner 5.6 thousand views, and now has a grand total of 705 dislikes and only 81 up likes. But it's not just there. The Anime Interactive channel is the exact same way, with only 82 subscribers. Wow, this was really an established game studio that just didn't pop out of the ground to specifically create this game with a bunch of funding from a bunch of shady organizations. Now, was it? Yeah, well, they're somehow, with their 18,000 views, they've got 2.2 thousand upvotes to still being ratioed at 2.3 thousand downvotes, boys and girls. So, yeah. The project only broke in the mainstream once influencers like Asmongold, Smash JT, Grums, and Gothic Therapy began exposing its premise, and connections. Even Elon Musk responded to the controversy, calling the project simply weird. Yeah, and as a guy who is a legal immigrant and had to go through all the hoops, and for any of you guys out there who haven't met legal immigrants and actually talked to them about their experiences and what they think of illegal immigration, needless to say, they are irritated more by most actual born American citizens, boys and girls. It was in the midst of this growing scrutiny that Anime Interactive made its most dramatic move yet. It scrubbed its entire online presence. As you can see here from the tweet from Smash JT, Anime Creates deletes X account after getting exposed for pushing illegal alien simulator posted north. As Smash JT documented, the studio's official X account, Anime Creates, was deleted. Founder Carl Reese also erased her personal account. The company's Instagram was set to private, and even the official Take Us North website, once used to promote the game and connect its Kickstarter campaign, was locked behind a private wall. Yes, boys and girls, and good luck Googly searching trying to find that website. In short, the studio vanished without a trace as soon as people started looking into its connections. It's almost like light is the best Let's try that one more time. It's almost like light and the truth are the best disinfectants for this evil and corruption that has infected our world, boys and girls. They scatter like cockroaches. Instead of defending their project, explaining their artistic choices, or addressing critics head on, Anime Interactive chose to run and hide. just like the paper tiger and cowards they are. This choice sends a loud message. The studio was unprepared to answer tough questions about its funding sources and institutional support. It's almost like they don't want to find out that this is a taxpayer-funded UN-backed event, UN-backed game. Weird, right? The backlash pierced through the PR gloss and struck at the heart of the project's legitimacy. Anime have also feared that further exposure would unravel even more uncomfortable truths. Boy, can you imagine what else would be exposed if they'd stuck around for a little while? Fall from coiling controversy, the disappearances amplified it. Every deleted account, every locked page becomes fuel for those arguing that Take Us North was never just a harmless indie story, but part of a pipeline the industry doesn't want discussed. And this is something we've talked about in the past, whether it be their other games. What was it? Dustborn we talked about in the past as well. All of the government-funded stuff with that. I mean, literally there were government-funded grants for some of these games out there. These are not indie projects from some grassroots groups out there because so many people agree and decide to fund a game. It's not that at all. This has been a top-down, agenda-driven push from the get-go, boys and girls. If that was the case, why did as soon as a lot of the USDA, a lot of the USAID, why is all of a sudden that funding dried up and got cut off? You don't see as many protests as you used to out there, boys and girls. You know, those fiery but mostly peaceful protests? That's because the only thing that funds this agenda-driven nonsense is because your tax dollars. Yes, your hard-earned money, boys and girls. Take Us North has transformed from an obscure indie game into a global controversy. One I'd like to play. First came Microsoft's funding, then Wing's endorsements, and now Anime Interactive and the United Nations showcase as well. This is no longer about one video game. It's about transparency, accountability, and the pipeline of power driving ideological projects into gaming, whether players want them or not. And if Anime Interactive thought hiding would make the story go away, they miscalculated. The scrutiny has only begun. And it's true. It really has. Because this is the question. How many times are we going to find out that activist games like this were funded by U.S. tax dollars, that were promoted by U.S. tax dollars? Oh, well, Microsoft's a private company. It can do whatever it wants. Oh, yeah? How many government contracts does Microsoft have? Huh? How many how many purchases of Microsoft Office has the US government had? I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure when I worked on government computers out there, Outlook is the standard that everybody uses, boys and girls. So don't tell me Microsoft's a private organization. It can do whatever it wants when it's literally the primary company, the primary software developer for everything the U.S. government uses. Yeah, so don't come at me with that nonsense, because at the end of the day, this is what it comes down to. And if the size of your government wasn't so outrageously huge, with the ability to hide so much of this money and all this misdirection between shell corporations and NGOs and everything else, this activism would have never taken root. It would have never been part of the mainstream. Why? Because time and time again, we have proven that the majority of the audiences out there, and most importantly, the majority of gamers out there, reject this garbage. Because when it is more or less actually privately funded, we see the massive kind of flops that we have. We see the studio's closures or the retransformation of a studio like what we saw with games like our dear sweet Assassin's Creed Shadows. How did that work out for Ubisoft? How did their lovely little Star Wars Outlaws work out for them? Oh, that's right. The majority of Ubisoft's owned by Tencent now. Name a studio out there that pushed one of these agenda-driven games. Dustborn? That studio doesn't exist anymore. How about the Microsoft ones that did a lot of their online gameplay nonsense garbage? Because when this stuff is exposed by the light, the majority of audiences, the majority of customers, and the majority of actual common sense people in the world, not just in the United States of America, reject this garbage and reject this nonsense, which is exactly why the studio behind this is running and hiding, because they know if we keep looking, if we keep digging, we will find even more connections. The spirit of the age is nothing more than government-funded propaganda by people who want to destroy, devastate, and divide. And guess what, boys and girls? There is once again proven that God is still on his throne in heaven, because a remnant exists that despite all of the institutional takeovers by the spirit of the age, whether it be your media, your gaming, or all of Hollywood, there is still a remnant of God's people left over that will expose this kind of garbage and push the truth out there. And just like every other cockroach out there, as soon as the light is shined upon them, they run and hide. Because at the end of the day, their agenda-driven nonsense does not hold up to scrutiny, and they are nothing more than cowards funded by your tax dollars. And guess what? Now they're getting exactly what they deserve. Run and hide all you want. We will find you, because boys and girls, times are a-changing, and Take Us North is not accepted by the majority of people out there, and especially gamers. After all, you get exactly what you deserve for dancing with the devil. A big shout out to all of our subscribers and members out there. Thanks for watching, and make sure you guys like and subscribe if you have not already.